What's going on, guys? You're watching JayzTwoCents, and many of you have been asking for more information about the camera setup that I use or have recently built for my channel to get some of the epic cinematic stuff that you see every now and then. So I figured today I'd go ahead and give you guys a little tech addict look at what it is I use here on my channel. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, and why the hell wouldn't you be following me on Twitter? The link is down below. You would have already seen some sneak peeks of this camera rig, especially as I've been building it over the last couple of months. The most common thing you guys said was this looks like that turret on the Millennium Falcon in Star Wars, you know, when they're, pew 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 doing that thing. And it is kind of fun to sit here and aim this thing around and have some fun with it. But let's go ahead and get down to business. When I was a kid, I was the kind of guy that was always making movies. I made my own indie films, I made my own sets, I took, I made my own props and stuff, and I was the kind of guy who never wanted to be in front of the camera, which is why this whole YouTube thing is kind of weird. I would much rather be the guy that's behind the scenes, that's working the camera, director of photography or director of actors, because this is where I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable back here. So I had to build a rig that I felt was comfortable for me. Having a nice rig gives you confidence to make your videos and stuff, but it's definitely not necessary. For right off the bat, anyone that's going to say that this is overkill for doing YouTube, absolutely. However, this rig was designed for being able to do mobile interviews. It's going to be going to CES. It's going to be helping me do more cinematic indie type films in the future, probably for the vlog channel because they may not be tech related. Now we've got a rig where I can do that. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the parts. At the heart of this rig, we have my Canon T2i, which might actually surprise some of you guys considering the fact that this camera is so old. However, it has all the functions that I need. It's got the same sensor as the 60D in there, which is a fairly decent low light sensor. It's not great when it comes to low light, which is really its drawback, but it gets the job done. It's got 1080p, 24p, it's got 30p, it's got 720p at 60 frames per second, so I can do the nice, smooth, slow motion stuff like you saw on the 20K subscriber video, where the whole video was done in slow motion. Filmed it at 60p, slowed it down, that's what you get. Now when it comes to the frame that everything is mounted to on here, this is an SP Productions shoulder rig, and it's a basic model because I knew I was going to be building up on top of this, so I didn't really want to pay for a lot of parts that I wasn't going to use. But what I liked about it is that it was under 300 bucks and it came with the follow focus. Now the follow focus on this isn't perfect, but it has all the features that I need. So it's got the stops that you can dial in there. It's got the the whiteboard material, if you will, where you can put marks on there so you can control your focus, and it hooks directly up to the lens. See if you can see that. So when you turn this, it is adjusting the lens focus on the camera, which is absolutely, it's perfect. It's nice and smooth. I have no complaints about it whatsoever. It mounted up perfectly. The shoulder pad here, this is, obviously a shoulder rig, so we'll go ahead and demonstrate that real quick. This is designed to be able to go onto your shoulder, so when you're doing running and gunning, or it's actually referred to as run and gun, believe it or not. So when you're doing running and gunning and you're recording out in the field, you have a nice comfortable pad on here, and it is fully adjustable. Right now it's adjusted so that the camera's farther out, but you can move it in so it's closer to your body. And I do need to add a counterweight to the back of this because it is still a bit front heavy. The rig isn't 100% complete, but it's about 90% complete, and I don't have any complaints about it. But yeah, if you wanted to move the shoulder pad forward for comfort, just loosen these knobs right here, slide it forward where you want it to go, lock it down, and you're all set. But I am going to be adding a counterweight back here, about 4 extra pounds. That way it's got a little bit more rear weight to it so your arms aren't as tired when you're holding that. Now when it comes to running and gunning, as I mentioned here, I do have the Nexus 7 tablet connected to my rig here through this home-brewed 11-inch articulating arm with this cheap eBay snap-in case, and then a Arca Swiss cheese plate that everything is mounted to. Nice and sturdy, it's not going anywhere, and the cool part is with this articulating arm is I can move this around literally in any position I want it. So if I had the camera down low, and because the T2i doesn't have the articulating flip screen like the T3i and newer do, I can just move that to wherever I want it. The cool part about this too is that I can flip it around so that it faces me. That way when I'm filming myself, I am perfectly in focus. See, we flipped it around and now I have a front-facing monitor on there. And when I turn on the camera, the software that's built into the DSLR controller app immediately turns on, see it turns it on and there it is. And now you can see there's me. Hi. So now we have a front-facing camera and everything is hunky-dory. It was a lot cheaper to go with a tablet for this than it was to go with an actual 7-inch HD field monitor, because the Nexus 7 was only $229 and the HD field monitor that's 7 inches costs over $800. So you do the math on that. $229 plus about $50 for all of the stuff here to make it mount versus $800. Yeah, that's pretty much a no-brainer. Now on the front here, which is the part that most people, that catches their attention, that has that real professional look, is my Pro-Aim matte box. And a lot of people ask what a matte box does. Obviously you have these shields on here that you can use to block the sun. They're made of metal and they are adjustable. So you can swing them in and out. If this needs to be up higher, you can raise the side of this and get, all the sun flares and blooms off of your lens. I also like that they are removable just with some thumb screws, so that if you're doing indoor recording and you don't need these to, obviously I don't need them indoors, you can just take them off, which makes the camera rig just a little bit less bulky. It's definitely needed though if you're gonna be doing outdoor stuff. Now, not only is this block the sun, but it also allows me to install filters on here so that if I wanna get a custom effect or look, I just simply install glass filters that are designed for these particular frames. They slide right into the matte box, and you just lock them down, and then you can get more customized cinematic look, or you can even just block out more sunlight if you have if it's a really bright day and you don't want to change your camera settings to block out the sun because there's a particular look that you're going for, you can simply do it with these filters right here. So that's the purpose of the matte box. Now on the top here I've got my Cowboy Studios 160 LED light for when you're doing dark room interviews and stuff. This is pretty much only going to be, it is dimmable as you can see right here. It is pretty much only going to be used for CES. I just have it on here because I don't have any place else really to mount it. And then I've got my Zoom H4n, which has the Don King hairdo, sporting a little Don King hair, which blocks all the wind noise if you're outside. That outputs directly into the camera. It has XLR inputs in the back, so when I'm doing my interviews at CES, it's going to be bringing the audio straight in to the camera. And then it's got an audio output right here that the cameraman can be listening with headphones, monitoring all the audio, telling us if there's any problems. Now when it comes to the tripod, I am using an FM18 fluid head. As you can see, it's very smooth. It is adjustable on how tight it is, so I can tighten it up and it gets a much more tight movement, which is good for if you're doing pans and stuff. And then you've got this lever here which you can turn, and then you get your up and down movements and stuff. So then you get full customizable movement of your tripod. And then it is also a quick release. You just flip this knob and then push this button on the side, and as you saw earlier, you can slide the camera right off. And what I like about this tripod is it also has a safety on there. When you pull it back, you'll hear it click. Hear it click. Now, if you forget to mount that knob and you go to tilt the thing forward, if you didn't have that safety lock in there, your camera would just fall off the front of the tripod and break. But as you can see, it's not going off because it hits that lock. So this tripod was about $180. It's not too expensive when it comes to videography tripod heads. It is a lower end fluid tripod, but for me it gets the job done. And then on the top here, I forgot to mention, everything is just mounted to the hot shoe here with a steel bracket. I'm not too happy with that. I don't want that much weight on my hot shoe, so I might change that where I get another arm and I mount the zoom over here on this side. And when it comes to software, my T2i, if you know anything about Canons, is using Magic Lantern. Magic Lantern is a custom firmware on here that allows me to just control all sorts of really neat stuff when it comes to the camera. So guys, that's pretty much it. There's nothing else really to talk about here. You guys are gonna see this camera used a lot more in the future. I'm gonna be doing some more feature films with this. And who knows, maybe even one day I'll start filming weddings or something. I don't know, maybe do interviews or something for hire. Make this camera work for me. But we are gonna be using this at CES. and it's definitely a lot of fun putting this together. It is certainly not needed for YouTube video, guys. It is by far overkill when it comes to YouTube, but because I am a DP or a director of photography, deep down inside when it comes to videography, this is my passion, so I wanted something that I could have fun with outside of YouTube as well, and there's some videos I have in mind that I want to make with this that are going to be very cool. I hope you guys will check them out. So as always, I appreciate you watching this video. I love each and every one of you for supporting this channel, over 23,000 subscribers strong. And yes, I just dated this video by saying that, but it's important to say that your guys' support is what keeps me going in all of this. Look down in the description. We've got some links down there to my vlog channel, to the Facebook page, to the Twitter. Go and check out those pages. If you want to interact more with me, those are better places to get a hold of me than YouTube, because there's just so many damn comments that come through my channel on a daily basis. So I'm gonna get on out of here. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna make some sort of really cool video or something, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'll just walk around town with this thing on my shoulder and look like a complete and utter idiot.